Les recuerdo que estarán las compañeras de la UTP pasándoles un papel, si no se lo pasaron ya, para que hagan las preguntas y las traerán aquí al frente luego de la última ponencia, que a mí me resulta súper interesante porque de Dinamarca yo sé muy poco y menos en temas de investigación y transferencia. Ayer Karen me contaba que la universidad de ellos tiene más de 5.000 investigadores, con lo cual los resultados y sus políticas tienen que ser muy claras. A eso viene Karen Laegaard, quien estableció la Oficina de Transferencia de Tecnología de la Universidad de Copenhague, Dinamarca, en el año 2003, en donde actualmente funge como la directora de dicha oficina. Karen ha trabajado para el Ministerio danés de Ciencia y Tecnología. Por 7 años laboró para la Oficina de Transferencia de Tecnología de la Universidad de Glasgow, Escocia, y hasta hace un mes fungía como miembro de la Junta Directiva de la European Technology Transfer Organization, en donde ocupó la presidencia por 2 años. Karen.
Thank you, Carlos. That sounded really good. I'm not sure I understood it all, but I hope he told you what I had written down on a little piece of paper. Sorry. First of all, I'd like to thank the PILA Network and the organizers for inviting me here to speak, which has been extremely interesting so far and also very impressive for me coming from Europe to see what is going on here in your parts of the world. That's very nice. I am also very sorry that I am not able to speak to you in Spanish, that I have to do this in English, but I can assure you that if I was to speak in Spanish, nobody would understand what I was saying. I also have to warn you that I have now come all the way from Scandinavia, so I do expect some questions after my presentation. Okay? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what it's like to sit where I'm sitting in the Technology Transfer Office at Copenhagen University, on the floor, with my hands dirty, doing technology transfer every day, 24/7, almost. Just a very quick overview of my university, so you understand what kind of organization I'm in. The University of Copenhagen is a very old university. Well, you can see it's very old. It's one of the oldest universities in Europe. It's also a very conservative university. It's a very classical university with 8 faculties, 37,000 students, 8,500 employees, of which 5,500 researchers. And you can see we span from anything from life sciences to theology. The tasks of the University of Copenhagen are no different from any other tasks of any other publicly funded university. We have to do teaching, we have to do research, we have to disseminate all the knowledge we produce at the university, and of course we do that in different ways. And also our researchers provide a lot of consultancy for companies and public institutions in Denmark and abroad. And I think that's true for any other publicly funded university in the world. So if you want to look at what was going on in terms of innovation before the year 2000 in Denmark, no one would be able to tell you, because before the year 2000, all intellectual property rights, at least within universities or public institutions, belonged to the professors or researchers. So before that, we don't have any statistics. We have no idea what's going on. So in the year 2000, we introduced what we call the Danish Bayh-Dole Act, which was, of course, a little bit inspired by what had been going on in the States, but we adapted it, of course, to our particular situation in Denmark. So by then, we abolished the professor's privilege, and to my knowledge, today, in Europe, it is only Sweden and Italy who are still operating with the professor's privilege system. All other countries have something similar to what we have in Denmark and in many of your countries. So government introduced this new law, and then the universities were told that now they had to set up patent offices to administer this law. And I have to tell you that for many, many years, we only talked about patent offices, patent people, and patenting. No one talked about commercialization. And it took us a long time to explain to the government that we had to change the wording of how we speak about this, because this is not about patenting, it's about commercialization, and patenting is just a vehicle to making this happen. So that was a bit of a bad start, you could say, but never mind. A very nice thing the government did was to allocate a budget for the universities to help them set up their technology transfer offices. And the Danish government also gave us some money so that we could establish a Danish national network for technology transfer, which was also a fantastic thing because we could organize courses together, we could go on study trips together, anywhere in the world, really. So there was money from that from government. And the result of that is, I think it's fair to say, that most technology transfer people in Denmark went through a very steep learning curve because we had money to educate ourselves, we had money to do it together, and we had money to get inspired by what was going on in the rest of the world, in places that were further advanced than we were. So that was a very good thing. The other good thing is that I can at any time lift the telephone and call any colleague anywhere in Denmark if I need to know something that I don't know and I know that this other person will know. So there's a very nice network, and this is also something similar perhaps where you create links amongst yourselves and you can learn from each other, and I think that should not be undervalued. Okay, so after the introduction of the Danish Bayh-Dole Act, sorry I have to call it that, lots of things happened within the University of Copenhagen, lots of initiatives. We set up the Tech Transfer Office, there were kind of small innovation centers set up in some faculties, other bits and pieces, initiatives, an EU office, I can go on and on and on. This was very good, but the bad thing was that the left hand did not know what the right hand was doing, and it was all happening in a totally uncoordinated fashion. So, then we tried to clean up the mess and create a bit of a more organized, organized setup. So we now have a Department of Research and Innovation, where we have gathered everything to do with technology transfer, EU Grants and Contracts Office, entrepreneurship, and so on. And that is led by a Vice President for Research and Innovation, and the Vice President reports straight up to the Rectorate of the university. So we are sitting below our Rector's or Vice Chancellor's office, which is also very handy. The Tech Transfer Office I founded was set up in 2003. We started off as an office within our medical faculty. We started off with 4 people. Today we are 8, and today we cover all faculties of the University of Copenhagen. We do what I suspect any technology transfer office in the world does. We do scouting, we protect inventions, we evaluate inventions, we go to things like Bio in the US to market our inventions. We also go to other partnering events in Europe mainly. I've written there proof of concept. We have small pots of money in Denmark that can help the researchers advance their research a little bit to produce more data or gather more material, have business plans made, and so on. So that is what I mean with POC funding, proof of concept funding. We commercialize inventions. We do mostly licensing, as I heard my colleague from Brazil also said. We negotiate agreements within my office, and I sign all agreements. I do not have to ask anyone within the university or anyone in the Rectorate whether we can sign an agreement, we make those decisions in my office, and that saves us an awful lot of time, and it's very good. So there's a lot of empowerment, you can say. And industry does not have to wait for us to sign agreements because they are circulating in the university system. We can do that quite fast. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, oh my God, the green light. A little bit of an idea very quickly. In 2010, we made 12 licensing agreements. We made 2 sales. You can see that our income from 2010 is quite modest. This is a normal income for any year in our office. The reason for that is that we are still waiting for a company to put a product on the market where one of our inventions is part of that product, and that hasn't really happened yet. We only receive 40 invention disclosures from academics a year.